So we're back with what happens after the anime of Konosuba, and we're doing Volume 8 of the light novel. So when it comes to Volume 8 of the light novel, the main things that happen are that Aqua's egg finally hatches. Aqua wants a festival since Ares has one every year. They meet Cecily, who's an important character for Magname's backstory. Cosma and Chris are trying to steal a sacred treasure from a noble's house, which is a treasure that can talk through telepathy. And Darkness might kiss Cosma. And finally, Cosma is setting up a lot of interesting stuff that will happen at the festival. So when it comes to this light novel right here, Volume 8, it's a very, like, I call it more of a filler one because, like, nothing really important to the story, in my opinion, happens besides, like, them meeting Cecily. That's the main thing that happens there, and maybe something with Lady Eris or Chris, and like, an armor. But, like, it's a little setup, but it's not, like, nothing, like, out of this world. And there's some funny stuff that happens in this volume, but not really that much funny stuff. So let's get into what happens here. So the light novel starts off literally with Cosma and Chris literally catching up, and like they're talking about what happened in the last light novel and all that. And literally they're just going to talk for a little bit. And then Cosma starts to go back home, and when he gets home, he opens the door, and literally Aqua and Vanir are literally arguing and yelling at each other and fighting like they always do. But the reason why they're fighting is because Aqua's egg finally hatched. And when the egg hatched, the first person it saw was Vanir. So now the chick thinks that its father and mother is basically Vanir, and it doesn't think Aqua is, and it doesn't like Aqua. So that's why they're fighting. Eventually, Vanir is going to make a shell because, you know, like he can basically like crumble himself down, whatever. He's basically going to make one of those, and the chick is happy, and that's how he can stay with Aqua. But you know, Aqua's pissed about that. And then as we go on, the next day is going to happen. Cosma and Magnamine, they go on their daily explosion and all that. And as they're doing that, Magnamine's going to tease Cosma and say, I love you. Like she said, list the things I love about you. You know, Cosma being a person that's never had anything to do with women, he gets nervous about it. He's embarrassed and all that. It's like, yo, you need to stop saying that. Because that's how Cosma is. So the next time they meet up, Aqua's going to bring up the idea of like, yo, there's always an Ares festival. Why can't there be an Aqua appreciation festival? Because, you know, Aqua wants everything to be about her. So she's trying to make, you know, this festival thing happen. So we have that. She's going to try and ask Darkness. Darkness is like, no, I can't do that because I'm the governor right now. I have to be the active governor. I can't mess with none of your little silly games right now. Asks Magnamine. Magnamine's like, I don't have anything against the Axis Church or whatever, but I'm not a follower. So she's like, yeah, sure, I'll help you. Cosmo's like, yeah, no, I don't want to help you. And then she ropes in Chris to do it. And Chris is like, why do I have to do this? But like, you know, Aqua being the pushover she is, and you know, Chris is actually Lady Eris, and you know, Eris most of the time listens to everything that Aqua says. So you know, that's why she gets roped into it. And the next day happens. Cosmo's in bed, and like he's not trying to do anything. Aqua comes in, and she's like, yo, come help me. And Cosmo's like, no, I'm not doing that. And until she goes to a bucket of ice and is about to throw it on him. And then that's when Aqua gives up. That's when Cosmo gives up and just agrees to Aqua's thing. So they're literally going around town. They're about to go to the Axis Church. And when they get there, they hear a familiar voice, which happens to be Magnamine. And she's talking to somebody. And some priest in there, or somebody's trying to sell her some white substance. So Cosmo and Aqua thinks it's drugs. And when they go in, they find out that Magnamine's literally just talking to like a priest and a priestess, and they find out the priestess is Silica, and they find out it's her, and like she introduces herself and all that, and then like she even says like why she looks up the Aqua and why there should be a festival, calls her Lady Aqua and all this, and Cosmo thinks in his head like, oh, maybe the Axis Church, they have found out what Aqua's real identity is. So that happens, and then Cosmo's gonna eventually go downtown to like the downtown district and talk to the president of that district, and he's going to become the advisor and tell them that, yeah, we need to do this festival because if we do this festival, we can rack in a lot of money and you can have both the sides of the churches pay for it. So as that's happening, he's going to be the advisor. So as we get to the night, Cosmo's going to sneak out with Chris, and they're going to go try and break into the mansion where the sacred treasure is. As they get in there, Chris is like, yeah, do not do nothing, do not touch me in no type of way, because Cosmo's trying to like hold hands with her, because Cosmo's like, oh, I need to hold your hand that we can sneak through the night, that nothing happens, because you never know what could be around the corner. And she's like, no, I don't want that. She's like, you'll get divine punishment. So that's one funny thing. So as they break in, they eventually get to the room, and Cosmo's sensing some type of aura, and then he finds out, and then he hears a voice, and then he finds out that the aura was coming from the armor, and the armor's name's Aegis. And Aegis is he's a very interesting set of armor, because he likes women. We'll just say that. He's an armor that likes women, because like he has telepathy and all that. So like as they're talking, they're about to rescue him. They're telling him that they're going to save him, give him to another master. Chris is like, yo, I'll be able to get you another master, but like I don't know when I'll be able to find you a lady master because I don't know when, because there's not really that many like ladies that get reincarnated in this world. So like when he hears that, hey, the armor gets mad and yells like, help! I'm about to be kidnapped, and alerts the whole house. So Chris and Cosmo basically have to leave, and like they have to give up on that. So as that's happened, they give up on the armor for right now, and as the week's going leading up to the festival, Cosmo's introducing a lot of interesting ideas to the advising board for the festival. The first thing he brings up is that he wants all the saleswomen to wear swimsuits. And at first they're like, yo, how can we do this? We can't get away with this. And then they bring up the heat stroke emergency agenda like plan, and they say the reason why they would be wearing swimsuits is because they don't want nobody to get a heat stroke, and every time like a woman's salesman's walking by, you spray them with water. So that's how he's trying to get away with that. And another thing he's trying to get away with is he's saying that we should allow people to wear costumes because he wants the succubus to basically come out on the street and they can walk around, and because all the male adventurers they know about it, and all the males in town they know about the succubus's shop. So like they want all the succubus to be on the street, so they're allowing costumes and all that. And Cosmo's gonna add a lot of different wacky ideas. They do have like one fight like over fireworks, because like at first they're telling him like, yo, we can't do this because all our explosion users are basically in the capital, and they get in the fight arguing over that. Now when we get to the day of the festival, like it's pretty lit. Like the festival's pretty lit like at the time, because there's a lot of different attractions happening. Even on the Axis Church side is pretty lit, and like the Ares Church is good. Like they're racking in money and all that, but Cosmo sees somebody doing something. Of course, it's Aqua and Silica, and like both of them are basically setting up a very weird shop, because like Aqua wanted to do goldfish scooping, but since there's no goldfish in this world, they use tadpoles, and they use the tadpoles of giant toads. So like yeah, they're getting in trouble. And then when we see the rest of the Axis church following, like they're all like setting up scams. Like a dude's trying to sell Kraken when it's actually just squid and all this other type of stuff. Cosmo has to have a talking to them, and Cosmo like eventually sets up his own type of shop and like cooking like Yoshiba, all the fried noodles, all this stuff that you see like in Japanese stalls, like stands at festivals. And that's basically what he does, and to help them out. And then like when the board meeting happens, like later that night, Cosmo's about to tell them he's gonna like basically retire from it, because like he has a date that he's going on with Magnamine for the fireworks. So like he wants to give up. But that's when they tell him that yeah, we made the most money we've ever made. And we also have some people here that wants to thank you for like literally allowing them to dress up as costumes. So who happens to be there are the two succubus. If you've seen them in the anime, the one girl with like the lighter pink hair, and the taller one with the darker pink hair. Basically, they're there, and they basically They basically put Cosmo in a sandwich. We'll just say that. And Cosmo eventually comes home super late, and then when he gets home, he's laying in bed. That's when Darkness comes in, and Darkness is like, because Cosmo's about to leave and go with Chris because they're about to look for about to try and steal the armor again. And Darkness comes in saying, "I need a thank you," and all this other type of stuff. And that's when like she's getting closer and closer to Cosmo, and Cosmo, he's sensing something, because Cosmo has a thing for Magnamine, but Darkness seems like she's about to come on to him. Then he mentions her name, and that's when Darkness gets out the mood, but she does kiss him on the cheek, so at least he got that. Even though Cosmo, every time he's about to get something, he always folds and he chickens out. And that's why like he never gets to it, because like Cosmo could have got so much different stuff, especially with Darkness kind of having a thing for him now. So that happens. So he goes with Chris and meets up with her. He tells Chris the reason why he was late because Darkness kissed him. Chris gets over this whole, like, goes all exaggerating, like, yo, that did not happen. She doesn't believe him. And then she's like, oh, don't you have a thing with Magnamine too? And then she's like, oh, I see you a player now. She's like, I see you got hoes. That's basically what she says. And then, like, they have a whole little funny thing. So they sneak into the house again. Cosmo uses this, like, crystal, breaks it on the ground. And, like, that way, like, the armor can't, like, use his telepathy to alert everybody else. So what happens is they talk to the armor. They're saying like, yo, we will find you a girl and all this and blah, blah, blah. Eventually, the armor is going to like break out of that room and tell everybody in the house that, yo, I'm leaving. But the only way you can get me back is if you find me a very attractive lady. And basically the armor leaves, alerts that Cosmo and Chris are in there. So Cosmo and Chris have to run, and they hide at an end. And then the next day, Cosmo's in bed at the end while Chris like went out, and then like you have Darkness knocking on the door, and like you have Chris there, and Cosmo does not believe it's Chris, until like basically Darkness rams into the room and yells at both of them. And that's when Cosmo's like, oh, you want to call me bad and all this, but you were trying to kiss me last night and all this, and you were kissing blah blah blah, you have all that. And that's when Chris is like, oh, Darkness, we're friends, you have to tell me about this, like, why are you not telling me about this? And it's this whole big funny thing. And then like Darkness unties Chris and tells her to leave because like she doesn't want to tell her. So yeah, it was hilarious. So we get to the last day of the festival, and this is where like the Axis Church has been like racking in a lot of money, and like they've been doing a lot of crazy stuff, and it just seems like they're gonna set up like for a festival next year where like it'll be just the Aqua one because they made so much bread this festival. So you have Chris being sad, and like all the Ares followers are sad, and like since Chris is sad, you know, Cosmo wants to like do something that he can help the Ares side. So he's gonna set up a beauty contest. And it's a very interesting one. It's a very interesting beauty contest. And like another reason why he's trying to set this up is that he can capture the armor, because he wants to get the armor to help Lady Ares out, because like she's basically been sad this whole time, like this whole festival technically, because you know the Aqua's festival is literally shining and above and beyond her. So what happens is as Cosmo's watching the ladies go on stage talk about themselves, the armor shows up, and that's when him and Cosmo get to arguing. But then like they see the women on stage and they pay attention more to them, and then they argue again, then they pay attention more to them. Then the succubus walk onto the stage, and there's a new succubus that is like super beautiful and all that. Everybody's losing their mind over her, and that's when the succubus reveals that it's actually Vanir, because you know he was shape-shifting, and that's where everybody gets mad and starts booing and yelling at him. And then the next person that comes up is Wiz, and they talk about Wiz's figures and all that. And then Darkness comes on the stage, and they're talking about Darkness, how she's nice, and like the armor's talking about how Darkness would be the perfect master for him, because he says her proportions, everything looks crazy. So you have that happening, and it's funny. And like Darkness is super embarrassed, and as that's happening, Cosmo's like, oh, do you want to see a very beautiful like woman? And like, would you listen to anything Chris says if I show you this beautiful woman? And the armor's like, yeah, sure. He didn't believe him because he thought he was gonna have like Vanir like shake shift. And that's when he talks to Chris and tells him to basically go on that stage as Lady Ares. And like, and literally he goes onto Chris goes on the stage as Lady Ares as her real self. Literally introduces herself as Ares. Everybody's losing their mind because they believe it's actually her, even though like it is actually her, and you can tell because like the aura and all this other stuff. So as that's happening, the armor is like, yo, that's my master, and like and runs through everybody to get to the stage. Literally puts Ares inside of allows Ares to get inside his armor, and then he runs away, and Cosmo literally like gets in a beef with everybody there to distract him that they can escape, and that happens. He ends up going to jail, of course, because of course that would happen. And like when he gets rescued from the jail, Darkness tells him all what happened. We find out that Aqua was trying to run a pyramid scheme at the festival because the beauty contest for the Ares side was racking in so much money that Aqua set up a pyramid scheme, and she thought like she could get away with it since it basically is a fantasy world and it's not Japan and not our world. So she tried to do that, but then Darkness caught on. She got in trouble. And then we get to the last day of the fireworks thing, and that's when like Cosmo finds out how fireworks are different here compared to like our world. And that is like fireworks there are basically them like killing all the bugs, and that's everybody using all their magic to basically blow up the bugs and all that. So Cosmo's mad because he thought it was like an actual like fireworks date, like, you know, the staple that they have in most animes, and turns out it wasn't. So Cosmo's sad about that. And then when we get to towards the end of the manga, Cosmo's talking about he's celebrating his birthday, like his 1 year anniversary since arriving here, so they call that his birthday. And like Aqua tries to say this thing that the way that birthdays are here is that you give people gifts since you stayed alive for another year, but you know she's lying, of course. And like she eventually gives like Cosmo just a rock or whatever. And then like as we get to the very end of the chapter, Magnemie's talking to Cosmo like, oh yeah, since it's your birthday, I have a special gift for you. And she asks, can you come to my room later because I have to talk to you? And that's how the manga chapter ends. But yeah, all in all, I mean the light novel chapter, but all in all, volume 8's okay. Like I said, it kind of feels like filler to me because like nothing like crazy is happening. But I mean, that's most of the time in Konosuba. But I mean, I think in the anime, they would make this better than the light novel. Because I said, I enjoyed this light novel because like I said, it's a festival and there's so much wild stuff happening. Like, especially like when Cosmo's doing setting up all the stuff like with the women, because you know the way Cosmo is. Like, that's good, and that's going to be funny. But I just know the anime would do this better than the light novel. But like I said, it's still a cool light novel. I just feel like it doesn't really like move the story that much, besides like a few like little scenes, like introducing the new priestess that we've technically seen before, but this is the first time we really met her, and also introducing that armor, which might play a role later on in the manga. We'll just say that. But yeah, if you read this volume, let me know how you feel about it. And if you're excited about like the next one, just know I will be covering volume 9 probably next week, because I took forever, and I'm sorry for like taking forever to cover this because like I got busy or whatever. But we're going to try and get to volume 9 pretty fast, and we'll cover it better. But yeah, we're done with volume 8. We're on to volume 9. If you're new, why not subscribe? If you enjoyed the video, why not like? If you could dislike, subscribe, you really enjoyed. But yeah, we're going to try and get to volume 9 soon, because like I said, I want to put out 2 of these each month. And let me know if you enjoy these. Just let me know. I'm sorry for like all the people that followed me for Konosuba. I know I took forever on this one. Like I said, I took forever. My bad, my bad. But like I said, volume 9 should be coming out next week. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you next video. Bye!